Hello again, everybody. I wanted to make another video to show how the Moodle site works and show you some of the features of how the course is set up. So hopefully when you log in to Moodle and you access our course, it should look something like this. And there might be some slight changes as the semester goes along, but basically this is what our course will look like. So I just want to walk through the different sections here. At the very top, we'll have the news and announcements. This is the forum that everyone is automatically subscribed to. It's not really a forum for a conversation. It's just a place for any messages that I need to send out for everyone to see. Here, the guide to course policies. We'll look at this more closely in a minute. This is sort of a online version of the syllabus for this course, and it includes additional information that might be helpful. And then some of the major tools that we'll access over and over again, I've broken apart and put into these top two sections. So here we have participation tools, and this refers primarily to Zoom, which we'll be using for our sort of in-class discussions, and Flipgrid, which you'll be using for your video responses to either the Zoom chats or to the readings and other assignments. And we'll see what that looks like in a few minutes. I also wanted to show you there is a more traditional forum included in this section, and I'll just load this to show you what it looks like. I think anybody should be able to add a new discussion here. So if there's a topic you want to talk about, if there's a question you have, either about something that comes up in the readings or about an assignment, this is a good place to ask. You're also welcome to email me if you don't want to kind of share your question with the class. But generally, if it's a question that you think anybody else might also have, or if it's a topic that you think other people will find interesting, go ahead and make a new discussion and we can talk about it here. So backing up, here you can find some more information about Zoom and Flipgrid, some information about system requirements and privacy policies, and just sort of why we're using those platforms and what they do for us in this class. Here, as the semester goes along, this will be a list of all of the Flipgrid topics. Right now you can see that there's one for introductions, and you can follow this link to go ahead and get your first 10 points in the class by making a short 1-minute introduction to yourself. Same thing here, there'll be a list of the Zoom chats. The first one, the one that we're going to try and do in the next couple of days, is getting started. So just talking about what is this class, how are we going to do things. I want to hear your questions, and I think the best way to do that is to have a conversation. So I'm looking for some early volunteers to sign up for this first Zoom chat, and you can do that by accessing this link right here, which will allow you to rank your choices out of the first 10 Zoom chat topics, the first half of the semester. Rank the ones in order of what you most to least desire to talk about. And I hope this tool will automatically kind of sort people into the best available topics. So moving down to the next section, research portfolio. The major assignment in this class will be writing a research paper. So there are no quizzes, there are no exams. Everything, your entire grade is really in your own hands in this class. And a big part of it comes through this research paper. So we're going to break it apart. I'm not just going to hand you guys an assignment and say, okay, between now and May 10th, write me a long paper. We're going to break it apart into these 6 stages, and I'm going to help you along the way to figure out what you want to write about, what is a good feasible topic for a research paper in this class. We're going to figure out how to find resources online. I'm going to talk to you in a discussion session one-on-one about how your paper is going and what questions you have. And then around April 6th, so towards the end of the semester, you'll turn in your first draft. And this should be a complete draft of your paper, but recognizing that you still have some room for polishing, and you might not completely understand what your conclusion will be. And we're going to share these papers with each other and do a peer review so that some of your classmates will read it, I'll read your papers, and we'll use that feedback to create a stronger, more polished final research paper, which will be due at the end of the final exam week. And then after these two sections that include a lot of the tools and the assignments, we'll start seeing the weekly topics. So for this first week, you can see we don't have any extra readings this week. I really just want you guys to look at the syllabus, to look over the course, the Moodle site, to familiarize yourselves with Zoom and Flipgrid so that starting next week we can really get the ball rolling, doing the readings, talking about the content of the course. You can look over this and make sure that you've kind of checked off all of these things. And if you have any further questions about the organization of the course, let me know in the forum, let me know by email, or sign up for that first Zoom chat and you can let me know sort of virtually face-to-face. So now I want to talk a little bit more about the design of the course and what this course is all about. And we can get to that through that course guidebook at the top of Moodle. So here we can find all sorts of useful information. You can see here the description of the course. This is a 4-field review of Mesoamerica. So I try to include a little bit of linguistics, a little bit of forensic and biological anthropology, and archaeology. So even though I am a cultural anthropologist by training, and that's my expertise, I recognize that a lot of the students taking this course, you might be more interested in one of those other subfields. So you will see those interests in this course at some point. You really can't understand Mesoamerica without touching on all of those fields and what they have to offer. Down here we can see the course philosophy and design, and I want to spend a second talking about this. I see this course as an intermediate level research intensive online seminar. And here I talk about what that means. So as an intermediate level course, basically that means that even though freshmen are welcome to take this course, especially if they have all the prerequisites, it's really more geared towards people who are sophomores and above, who are sort of more comfortable writing papers, or who are able to manage their time and sort of look and see what their reading assignments are and make sure that they've sketched out time in their calendar to get them done. And that's the best way to really benefit the most from this course, to sort of flip the approach so that you guys are going out and doing the reading and gathering the information yourselves and then bringing it back into the course, into the classroom, so that we can talk about it and I can answer your questions and make sure that everybody is doing well. It's a research intensive course. So what I mean by that is that the main assignment will be that research paper and some other associated assignments that go along with that. And we're going to learn how to conduct scholarship. And finally, as an online seminar, a face-to-face seminar, one of the main benefits of that kind of a class is the opportunity to talk to your classmates and the instructor, to have those sort of spontaneous conversations that come around some topic that comes up in discussion that you find really interesting, and you can ask questions and follow up. And it's hard to recreate that in an online form. Traditionally, we use those text-based forums, but those can be kind of stale and just not very engaging, and they're not a realistic way of communicating. So that's why I'm trying these new video tools this semester, to try and recreate some of that face-to-face communication, because humans really we evolved to communicate orally. We can share more information speaking to each other, especially face-to-face, when we can see each other and kind of read gestures and sign language from each other. We can read more information that way than we can through the written word. So there's some more information in here about me. You can read about my research, some cute picture of my kids, kind of information about my contact. So if you want to call me, well, calling me is hard. It actually goes through the main office, and then Janie comes down and tells me I have a phone call, so I go upstairs and pick up the phone, and if you're still there, then we can chat. But it's much more useful to contact me by email. There's also I created a Discord channel for the SEMO anthropology program, so you can try to hit me up there. For this course, the learning objectives, you can find those listed here. Everybody, of course, is always interested in grading, so here you can read about the different assignments. As you can see, the Zoom chat and the Flipgrid responses, these make up a pretty big chunk, altogether 35% of your grade. There's some reading worksheets, which we'll talk about starting next week. These aren't quizzes because they're open. It's like an open book sort of assignment. You use it as you're reading the assignments for the week, just to sort of help guide you to make sure you're getting the main points. And then the research portfolio altogether makes up 55%. So a big chunk of your grade comes through the research paper, which is broken into those stages, the peer review process, which is a part of that, and a special topic presentation. This is something we'll do sort of halfway through the semester, where as you're writing your paper and doing research, you'll put together a short presentation to share with your classmates, focusing on some aspect of your paper that you think is really interesting and that others might find interesting as well. The course requirements, there's only one book, 7 Myths of the Spanish Conquest by Matthew Restall. You can see that listed here. I just found out that we do have electronic access to this book through the SEMO library. So if you haven't already purchased it, or if you just want to have an ebook available, log into the library, do a quick search, and you'll find this. You can access it. You might have to log in through the portal, the single sign-on. But once you're in the portal, you can download and read this. I think you can even save a certain number of pages to a device for offline reading. So that might be useful. And then moving on, there are additional sections of this book talking about policies, SEMO policies on things like plagiarism and academic honesty, attendance policies, which for an online course, log in periodically, at least once a week, and you should be okay. And then some other information, sort of like tips and strategies. A few of these that are especially useful for online courses. Figuring out how to make your learning environment work best for you. So if you're taking this course at home, like for example, I've got 2 young kids, so I am probably not going to respond to your emails or questions between the hours of like 5 and 9 every night, because that's when I'm usually eating dinner, getting my kids to sleep. And after that, after 9 o'clock, usually I'm sort of have some free time again. Your schedule might be similar, or it might be completely different. Just figure out what works best for you and make sure that you've carved out some space where you can sit down and really focus on your work. Some other information about navigating the site, and this one I think is a little bit more technical but very useful. Figuring out how to make sure that your documents are safe. So if you don't already use some sort of cloud backup like Google Drive or Dropbox, I strongly encourage you to look into these. Nobody should ever lose a paper or any other document ever again, because we have these tools now and they really make life a lot easier. So let's see, I've shown you the page, I've talked about each section, I showed you the course book, showed you the forum. I can show you really quickly what Zoom and Flipgrid look like. So for Zoom, there's actually a client. I'm not sure if this is still recording. It's a program that runs separately from your browser, but to join the meeting, once I've created it, I'm pretty sure you can access that through your browser without having to download anything. So that just makes it a little bit easier. And then Flipgrid, to This is what our Flipgrid looks like. Nice picture here from from Guatemala, where I do my research. Here's kind of a trippy Aztec calendar GIF. But for this week, this first week, the only question we have is to introduce yourself. So you can log in now and make sure that you use your CMO EDU address to sign up for the to join Flipgrid, to get into our course. And that way I can see you and give you credit for your responses. So I think I've covered everything I need to get you guys started. So please dive in. There's not a whole lot to do this first week. Just want to get to know each other, make sure that everything's working. Please let me know if you have any bugs in Moodle. It's sort of famous for having all sorts of quirks and glitches, and hopefully if there's anything that comes up, we can get it resolved quickly. And I look forward to meeting you all in AN360.